Sekusele kancane sizophumelela. Yo yo yo. Sekusele kancane. Sekusele kancane sizophumelela. Yo yo yo. Sekusele kancane. Sekusele kancane sizophumelela.
Good day, family. Welcome to the Big Daddy Football Corner Buffet 2. Once again, compliments of the new year and yeah, all the best to each and everyone. Guys, thank you so much again, for being with us on this channel and always ensuring Guti, you come and watch the content that we post. We don't take this thing for granted. We really appreciate it. Let me say also big ups, to Orlando Pirates Bucks Camp Brotherhood, episode 3, where the channel actually got featured, so that's also very interesting news, coming into this particular new year, and let's go, guys, into the game. Orlando Pirates versus Sekhukhune, gameplay at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium, game finishing 0-0, a draw, in this particular match. And people will say it's a point gain. In my own view, it's actually a point lost, because people that follow me on Twitter would have seen what I tweeted about, the fact that, Orlando Pirates players needs to understand, especially this season, that each and every league game is going to be a cup final, because we are chasing a team that has won this thing 8 times, and they know how to win it. So any chance you play any game, you need to get 3 points. There is no reason, for today, in my own view, for us dropping points at Peter Mokaba. Even though I think Sekhukhune defended well, but I think it was a game that Orlando Pirates could have at least get 1 goal. Let's get into the game. Just before the game, when the lineup came up, what I was interested Kakulu, when the lineup came up, was looking forward to say Witumbogazi having left for the US, who the coach, is likely, to actually play. We know Siema is for me is the number 1 center back. Who are you going to partner with? Are you going to the Smith route, which is the more safer route because they have played together? Are you going to introduce Sesane, or are you going to bring Unda? Or are you going to bring, Uchabatsane, which is the new, left center back, who can also play as a left back. So for me, I was happy that the coach kept the same core of last season, and he looks like he wants to gradually introduce the new players, because we need to learn from that Mashiola and the situation last season where we played him too early, and he did not perform, and all of a sudden everybody was like booing him in the stadium, and he dropped his confidence. Eventually he was loaned, and I think we have to introduce the new players slowly, give them 10-15 minutes, until they gain and understand, and how to play how the pressure of playing for this particular big team. The other thing that I was interested, coming into this game, was how Orlando Pirates is going to deal with the aerial threat that Sekhukhune possesses, especially Robla when crosses are played, and set pieces are played. How exactly is Orlando Pirates going to maneuver into that space, as well as the fact that Orlando Pirates normally pushes the last defensive line and leaves a space behind them. How are they going to defend that particular space, especially looking in the lineup as Sekhukhune, seeing that, Umochela started in this particular match. But going into the first half, the very first 3 minutes, guys, already Orlando Pirates have played 2 or 3 diagonals, towards the left-hand side, to exploit the space as Mokaba, was overlapping, they pushed Undaba, and Tito went to that side, created overload. They're using triangles, to combine play. It was Tito, Moremi, and Daba. And again, when we were building up using the left-hand side. We can go and circulate the ball to the right, but we come back, we want to come out on the left-hand side. Again, we're also playing diagonals, looking at Undaba on the other side. I felt that Orlando Pirates, especially in the first half, it were too predictable. We were playing lopsided. We were playing one side of the field, progressing play on one side, getting to the final third using, one side, just to prove my point. In the very 16th minute, 1-6, we had 4 corners. All of them, they were from one side. First half, we had 7 corners. 6 of them, they were coming from the right side, Kamoremi and Undaba. Just to show, to prove that we kept on attacking using one side, and we made it easy for Sekhukhune, to be able to adjust, and able for us to defend. Sekhukhune deployed more like a 4-4-2 formation, Utumo Chela and Grobler, on top. Ulena was looking to play more of long balls, looking at Grobler to win those first balls, react on the second balls, whether he flicks the ball mostly to Umjela, to get, to attack the final third, your Orlando Pirates. And it's more like a Stelly's type, of play, if you think about it. Even the throwing pattern, but where they will use a person that throws, the long throw, and then they'll have that player, that will come out of the box, or even closer to the box or inside the box, will flick the ball, into the box, and then the players will attack. It's more like how Stelly's, attack Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates, they were allowing us, Sekhukhune allowed Orlando Pirates to have, patient build-ups. Sometimes they would drop into a mid-block, 4-4-2 mid-block. They allowed Orlando Pirates to have the ball, and exactly where they knew they're not going to hit them, but the middle, they ensured that they blocked the middle for us not to progress playing into that. I felt like Orlando Pirates in the first half, we played too much away from the box. We had a lot of ball possession, but the ball possession was in areas where we're not causing threat. It was also not in the final third. It was more on zone 1, 2, and 3. And when we get into the third zone, it was difficult, especially in the first half, to get into the third zone. I just felt that, in the final third, there was not enough penetration in the first half. There was not intention, the intention was not enough. We did not have even enough numbers. They had numerical superiority on their side. And even at the end of the first half, I said to myself, really, and Apolis, it is a must that they come. Actually, I even thought that the coach was going to introduce them, just right at the beginning of the second half. We did not look sharp enough. We did not look like we had an intention with, of attacking the final third, with pace and numbers. We were not even ruthless on the half chances that we got inside the box. You can see, Manguti, it seems like it's preseason. We look a little bit, lackluster, especially in the first half. The couple of chances that we got, we also look at, we could score a goal, but we were just not there. But you could see something was smelling, but we just could not, finish those half chances that we get. For me, in the first half, when the first half finished, when it finished, I said to myself, but what is Sekhukhune gameplay? Because for me, it looks like Sekhukhune came into this game and all they wanted was to get that 1 point. They planned very well how to block Orlando Pirates, how to defend Orlando Pirates, but they looked like they were comfortable defending, but when it was time that, okay, they have the ball, they also did not pose any much threat, in the final third, except the long balls and the long throw in. I could not see any way of how they are going to, score the goal. Second half, as per the doctor's orders, Coach Wadu introduces Urele and Apolis, to add fresh legs, to add a little bit of mobility, to add a little bit of attacking firepower. I think in the second half, when those two came in, we looked a little bit better, in the final third, but again, there was no clarity, man, in terms of the execution of our actions, and even decision making with that final pass, that final pass that needs to get there. It just wasn't as clarity, as clean as you would like it to be, again, the other frustrating thing is something that we discussed even, last season before the break, of AFCON, that Orlando Pirates attackers need to be clever in terms of how they, in terms of how they make their runs, especially on a team that pushes the line and play an offside trap. You remember the game against Sundowns, how there were too many offside because we could not time and bend the runs, and we were consistently being caught offside. And sometimes, it was very, very frustrating to see that. The other thing that was surprising for me was coach, substituting the right back, Udiano, as opposed to Sibelebele, especially taking into consideration that Sibelebele has been on injury. You would think that, you would think that Udiano is probably ahead of Sibelebele in terms of fitness, but in this game, man, but I just felt like there was a goal that was coming. There was one particular chance that I'm still sitting and asking myself, how did he not get in? When Usbelebele, how he's able to manipulate the ball, in touch spaces inside the box, and when he needed to shoot, and then the second attempt, he still hit the goalkeeper. I was like, damn, in this particular match. Yeah, but Mafethu, for me, that's why my observation, of the match, again, in my own view, I could have given the man of the match, to Ronaldo Lina. But that defense, yes, Sekhukhune, I think they played brilliantly. The goalkeeper himself, but mostly, the player that impressed me the most on the Sekhukhune team was, for me, Brighton Ndlovu. I think he's incredible. He's like the old-fashioned defender who's a stopper, who's physical and who's able to man mark, who's able to get into those crutch tackles, aerial battles. I think he's a solid defender. I think he's one of those players that are really, really underrated, in this particular league. He is very, 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 very clean. Okay, he can also play the ball, by the way, when he needs to play, but he more provides you with the more old-fashioned type of defending where he uses his body and everything, and he's a blocker, and he just ensured, the team, Sekhukhune actually gets a point. So I wasn't surprised when he won, the man of the match. But in this game, I just felt that we looked a little bit sluggish, man, especially in the first half. It looked like, since coming from AFCON, it has affected our rhythm. We haven't gone into the gear. And I hope that, in the next game that we're going to play against Makesi, it will be much, much better performance, at home. And the players would have picked up a little bit, of Ilokuzana. Of games into their legs, because we looked a little bit like we started into preseason. But yeah, for me, guys, it's a point lost. Some they're saying it's 2 points lost. Some people are saying it's 1 point gain. But let me see what you hear, guys. Please ensure that you like, you comment, and you also follow this YouTube channel. Danko Mabagania Danko.